Okay, welcome to part 3 of the Ezio tutorial series. This combo video will be about, well, wall combos. I'll tell you about all those wall combos, his wall setups, his damage, everything you need to know about his wall game. And Ezio has a pretty formidable wall game. It's not on par with, say, Alpha Pat or Tira, but it's definitely no Aeon or Algol. So it really has a strong wall game. And it's actually kind of easy to set up with certain attacks, which makes it pretty strong. And if you're unfamiliar with the wall combo system in this game, you're allowed 2 wall splats, and that's it. After the second wall splat, you will no longer wall splat unless they tech, which is bad because typically when you're getting hit with a wall combo, you do not want to tech because you're probably going to get hit for even more damage you don't need to be taking. So let's get into it. Ezio has good wall combos and good wall carry. And the kind of stun you'll see most often for wall combos will be the 4-4K counter hit stun, the 1-1 AA stun, and the back turn B plus K stun. Those stuns are very easy to do wall combos with because you get a long wall carry with them. And by wall carry, I mean that your hits make them travel a considerable distance to the wall. So you see right here, C-Train is a bit away from the wall. Obviously, if I do like a 4K or something, it's not going to splat. If I do 4-4K, you will. Because 1-1BB, 4K, you get a long travel distance with this. Sometimes, I mean, it's really formidable. That's about as far as it will go. So that's almost at the start of the stage, on this stage anyway. So that's a really good distance to get wall combos with. So now I'm going to go over bread and butters through this kind of stun. 4-4K counter hit, 1BBB, 4K twice into 3B for 103. That's your typical meterless bread and butter wall combo. Very easy, simple, lots of damage, lots of meter gain, excellent. If you want to spice it up for 1 bar of meter, add a 1K to 60 damage, and you get 118 for 1 bar, and that's without clean edge. So that's pretty much half-life. If you want to expend even more meter, feel free to. There's an A plus B ender here, but A plus B is a little inconsistent. Because if you're at that angle, Ezio will be back turned, it cannot combo with a critical edge, which is the max damage opportunity. But it does combo from here. And if you get a successful hit, you get 136, and it's about 146 with clean hit, so that's well over half-life, which is very good. But if you want to sacrifice the A plus B hit, if you want a more consistent ender for your critical edge combo, you actually have a choice. This is the one situation where 4-4A actually becomes valuable. 4K twice, 4-4A this time is a critical edge, and you get your combo, which is really good. 130 is you're not even losing that much damage. You're only losing about 6 damage if you decide to go for the more consistent option, which is actually really good. That's essentially those kind of combos in a nutshell. Those things you get from a carry. In terms of practicality use, it actually does, because 4-4K and counter hit is not easy to get, but it's not the hardest thing to get. But you can easily get a 1-1A splat if the opponent is careless, as you'll see from this exchange. As you'll see from this exchange. If they immediately re-GI, you will get 1-1A. And that hits naturally, and you don't even have to worry about counter hits, because that's his only thing from front turn that gets that kind of stun on its own. Because you get, normal hit 4-4K, not quite the same. So it was actually really good for post-GI, especially near the wall. That's probably your best post-GI option near the wall if you don't, want to get hurt. If they say they just, wait. But again, it's minus 20, so keep that in mind. But it's also your most consistent thing for a wall combos for post-GI. Really good. Now I'm going to go over 1K wall combos. And 1K can do wall combos. Just for a refresher, meterless damage, 53, meter damage, 86. But you can opt for a combo here with a little bit of a wall splat stuff. 1K into 6-6K. Gets a that splat for 75. 6-6 BB will combo. And that's much more for meterless, which is great. If you want to, you can expend the meter extension, but you only get 2 extra damage Which, if 6B didn't never clean hit, it'd be the recommended thing to do because you get a tiny bit more damage. But 6B can clean hit often. So it's, you know, just one clean hit knocks it way above 66BB's range for that combo. So weigh your options. The splat off the 66K is roughly about 16 frames. So you get 6K, 3K, BB. You can BB Brave Edge, but it's not recommended because the damage you're getting is less than both options if you choose to spend meter for the combo. So not that good. That's about that. That's really the extent of that kind of combo. Now I'm going to get into a bit of the normal hit combos. You only have one attack that really gets you normal hit combos for walls without like any sort of stun, and that's 3K. This. But it's very, very difficult to set up. What makes it difficult is because the wall splat is so inconsistent. You have to be hugging the wall, and then, you know, you'll get your combo. But an interesting thing about the wall splat is that they're back turned when the splat happens. So you can get interesting stuff like this. 4K to back throw, or side throw, in this case. Which is a bit interesting. Wow, I'm getting consistent side throws on Siegfried. Interesting. But yeah, it's really not that good. Because it's really hard to set up. Because the wall, you just have to be so fucking close to them. It's not really worth it. Like there, doesn't work. They have to be literally hugging the wall. So it's a very hard thing to get to work. So but your choices are there. While Rising K functions in a similar way, same exact type of splat. But again, extremely difficult to set up. As you see, I'm right on the wall, and he's having a lot of trouble even splatting. So, not recommended in the least to go for a Wall Rising K starter. But it's there, and you get decent damage. But, you know, what can you do? Not use his attack is what you can do for Wall Splat. Not really good at all. Now I'm getting to, well, let's get into 22K. 22K is this, if you're unfamiliar, and it's another good normal hit thing in terms of splats, because you get your same bread and butters, just a little bit different. 22K will combo with 4K, which will combo 1BBB, 4K, etc., etc. 1K will not combo in this instance, because it's extremely inconsistent given the angling. So don't rely on 1K to be your ender if you choose to use that combo. But in instances of a 22K splat, you get your typical stuff, bread and butter. All guaranteed. All guaranteed, which makes it another good tool in his wall game arsenal. Really good stuff. 4K on counter hit will splat on its own, but, you know, it won't give you anything in normal hit. This splat, again, this is a very long splat with 4K. It's at least 25 frames, so you have a lot of time to do it every time. But it's really only 25 frames once you actually get a second splat, which is peculiar. So you get stuff like that. These are just resets so you don't never need to implement in your game. Those are your typical go-to combos. Now I'll get into a little bit more obscure splat. Is your 2-2 AA will splat. But the splat is not a good splat. Because you can't really get combo extensions off this splat. As it splats way too early for you to actually get a combo. So you can do ground hitting attacks to supplement a little bit extra damage, but it just scales to hell. As you see, a 2K gets you 3 extra damage. You can stomp for a tiny bit extra damage if you don't botch the inputs, but you're not getting much at all. 2A plus B will also work, but 4-4B will not, except in that situation. It's not consistent, is what I'm trying to say. Don't rely on it. Now, that's really all there is to it. In rare instances, it will splat late, and you can get combos, but it's just way too inconsistent to rely on. Even in this video, as I'm showing, I'm not really getting it. That was the ideal spacing, but sometimes he just won't splat. So you have to be really aware of that if you want to actually go for an extended 2-2-AA wall combo. It's extremely difficult, because the spacing has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, you'll get the early splat and you'll get your usual 2K follow-up. Like right there, that's the ideal splat. But it's just so hard to keep your eye on. So you have to be really on your toes. But if he gets the late splat, he's about vulnerable for your standard bread and butter. So you can do a 4K to full 4K, etc. But again, very difficult to get that kind of splat correctly. Next splat I'll talk about is the 6B splat. This move, one of our favorites. 6B will splat when countering it because it knocks down. And that is a splat. But given how Ezio's hurt box moves forward like that, wall combos become a bit more difficult, especially at just like an open wall like this. So it becomes hard. 6B Brave Edge will splat, but I don't recommend it because it looks stupid and it's janky. And honestly, you're losing damage if you get that. Because if you get a counter hit, you're going to get an extension for more damage for no meter. So that's really all there is to it. On the 6B splat, you get your typical bread and butters, but you have to be aware of the angles they're going at. You can get your normal stuff if you're like really lucky in the corner. Like right there, it's so inconsistent. So typically, you either just want to go with a 1BBB, because that won't have consistency issues on hitting, and then 3B for 80, which is really good. You can also get it from our Rising A, because 6B will combo from our Rising A, so yeah, why not? 1BBB, 4K, 1K will not work. Don't be on 1K either. That stun will also not work. I'm just showing you basic things to keep in mind, because you might be getting ideas for wall combos, but keep in mind a lot of these do not work, because you have to be wary of your stuns. That's something you can do. Really, it's really easy stuff. Just go for your bread and butters and you'll be golden, honestly. Like right here. Golden. 101. And say you get a wall set with just 6B, or say you get it from while Rising A to 6B, the damage is pretty much always the same. The scaling works out so that even with the extra hit from Rising A, you're getting pretty much the same damage, which is good. So you really don't have to worry about that. In terms of wall combos, that's about it. That's really the extent of this game. You're going to get a lot of mileage from stuff like 44K, Post GI 11A, stuff like that. There's one more move I can show you to incorporate, but it's a little hard for wall parries. It's 668 plus B. Because the stun is I-20. But as you see here, if you're close to the wall at the right angle, you get 132 meterless if you get the 4K follow-up. Which is possible, but you just gotta be aware because it's hard to hit with this move, and it's post-GI. So it really doesn't have the applicability that moves like 44K or 11A has, but if you get a post-GI, then by all means go for it. Because you're still going to get a large amount of damage. But you just got to be aware that you're going to need a 4K to convert the splat. Because 1BBB will not reach. Unless you're at certain specific angles that even then are inconsistent at best. Like right here, it's not working. So you have to be aware, because 11A will give you much more wall carry post-GI than 668 plus B will. So, that's that. Like that. But that will not combo, because 44K will not combo after a 4K splat on the first. So you can only do it after the second. And that's another thing to be worried about, because if you're too close, 668 with B on its own will splat, and you're not going to get much at all on that kind of splat. You can do stuff like this for meter damage. That's with Kino, with 135. But honestly, it's a little difficult to incorporate the meter hit aspect of the wall combo. So going for meterless on that splat is probably the best, because you're still getting half life for no meter. You know, not counting GI if you just decide to use it post-GI. This was kind of scatterbrained, but this is really the extent of Ezio's wall carries and wall combos. If you have any questions, please ask. Anything to share, any criticisms, please ask. I made this video for optimal wall combos. There are more wall combos like usable, but you're not getting optimal things. So these are the optimal wall combos to use for the carry. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Keep playing Caliber, guys. Keep playing Caliber.